So everybody, including most of the business leaders, believe that the best talent is in, say, IIT bits and all of that, and then all of them go to hire there. But then, let's say for example, the best of the IIT and bits talent usually, because these companies that go there for the first time are usually categorized as category C employer, and usually don't get the best of the talent. What they end up doing is, for a programming role, they end up hiring a chemical engineer or a civil engineer, and then they end up doing this. So I wanted to understand, how do you attract the best talent from IIT's bits, and how do because the bottom pool of IIT and bits generally tend to be more entitled than the top pool.
Top.
So that is a common this thing. So how do you get the best talent from IIT bits, and how do you navigate through this whole maze?
So there are two factors here. One is Vishwajit, you obviously head an institution which is not an IIT, which is not a BITS. Uh, at Bert Labs, even though we hire most of them from, then these are campus hires, but the lateral hires are not necessarily from IIT, not from BITS. Now, there is a gentleman in our team who heads Bert Maximus, our IoT devices platform. His undergraduation, his post graduation hasn't been from any of the premium institution, but he is one of the best performers. And this way, there are quite a few other examples also. So this is point number one. Point number two, and again, I would not like to talk on behalf of IT services because I would consciously make decision on every single platform
Hmm.
to move away from the services conversation because it's going on for last 30 years. We need to come out of it. So in our case, it is best of talent which comes to us. Why? Because what we are building, if I could take that liberty, no other company in the world is building. And I can vouch for it because we do a lot of prior art searches
Hmm.
as part of our patent filing. And we also, go to several leading companies across sectors globally. So we know which company is doing what. Even, the likes of Siemens and Honeywell and Schneider Electric. So when a talent in IIT or a BITS, they come to know about what we are doing, they get super excited. Now, on your second point, a chemical engineer or a mechanical engineer or a civil engineer doing a software development work. Now, that is omnipresent. Now, why it is okay for us to hire a chemical engineer? Because in their 4 years, their core chemical engineering, they don't study. They just attend classes to the minimum, attendance which is required. But by the side, they end up doing, Java development, Python development,
Hmm.
JavaScript development, etc., or C, C++. So that's what they end up doing. So as long as you, in your interview process, in your recruitment process, we conduct tests and we find them adept at programming, at logical thinking, we hire them. So there are a lot of chemical engineers, a lot of mechanical engineers, civil engineers who do software development. So that's how it is. It's sad, but that's how it is because the civil engineers, they don't take up the core civil engineering work. Chemical engineers, even though in our space, chemical engineers are required, mechanical engineers are required for the work which we do. But, generally speaking, in the industry, they don't end up doing, their core work. But this is how, in India as a country, we need to build that avenue where chemical engineering, civil engineering, mechanical engineering also get, their core work, which some people they want. I have interviewed so many people. So people are extremely interested in the intersection of software and hardware, but they don't get that kind of a job. So they end up doing computer sciences development, which they don't want to do because an Infosys ends up hiring them, and they are incompatible, so they move on to do something else. So at the end of the day, one, it's not a bad idea to hire a chemical engineer or a mechanical engineer for a core software as long as the organization finds merit in what they have done during those 4 years, the corporate internship they have done, the projects, the fourth year project which they have done, and aligned with the job description what we have.
Got it. So again, so Sachit and both of you,
Yeah.
so how I see colleges or institutions is more like a recruitment consulting firm
Mhm.
that does the basic filtration. So you cannot go around entire India finding who is the best in technology. You cannot go around interviewing or screening every person. So in an institution generally does the an institution's value is based on how difficult is it to get into that institution. So in that case, getting into a bits in computer science is much harder than getting into it through civil or chemical.
Hmm.
So as a student who is kind of choosing the colleges, so let's say assume he wants to do comsci and then he doesn't get it in bits, then what he does is for comsci he goes to a tier 2 college which is not bits. In that case, would it be wiser if he is picking some course within bits only so that he gets access to this larger pool of company and then upskills himself on com science, or should he go to another college and learn com science fully? How do I'm just curious. Okay, this could be a very big question when student is deciding on his which college to join, right?
Sure. Sachin?
Yeah, for me, I would look at in terms of what is the specialization that he wants to get into. There are two things, right? One of them, they want to get into an institute, doesn't matter what it is, right? And then they make their way around. Maybe they don't specialize in the computer side of it, but they get into chemical, and then later they do certain courses within or outside. But they want that tag to be there because they see a value from there, because of the campuses, hiring that happens out of those campuses. Some of them are very particular. They say that, okay, if I'm kind of want to choose AI, or if I want to do data science, or a certain specialization, these are the colleges that I want. Doesn't matter what it is, right? It if it is not BITS, if it's not IIT, if it's any other college, but they like get into the details about the specialization, the subjects involved in it. They kind of go around talking to the seniors who already passed out, and they see their projections, career projections, and then based on that they decide. So I think you need to be smarter on kind of identifying what is that you want, either from the tag or specialization from that particular subject. As I said, it might be data science or anything that you want to do.
Oh, Sachin, you are bang on.
Yeah,
I'll just add to
sure.
this, and in fact, I'll echo this.
Okay.
So we have found, Gautam, both kind of students. So one set of students who go for the tag, who go for an IIT, a BITS. The other kind of students, who are more focused. They are very clear.
Yeah,
We want to do electronics. They are very passionate about electronics. You would like to add more. Where and this is, their passion starts from 10th standard, from ninth standard. In terms of their fondness for electronics, and it sustains throughout. So if they don't get into IIT, it's absolutely okay, to get into an IIT,
yes,
but electronics is their focus. And then there's a third category, what we have seen that they get into institute of their choice, they get into an IIT. First year they perform, even if they have taken civil, but first year they perform, they score high on CGPA, and second year they get the option for their favorite engineering.
true.
So this is also the kind of students which we have seen. Fourth kind of student is, as you rightly said, Sachin, during those 4 years they navigate. There are electives, they have the option of choosing their electives. So if a chemical engineer uh, core he or she doesn't want to stick to, he or she chooses electives which are more on computer sciences, because that's what is their passion. So these are the four kind of students we come across, and it's absolutely fine. But what we drive, what I personally drive, is engineering skills are very, very important. So if somebody comes and takes my advice, so it will be that please opt for engineering skill where you have the passion
Yeah,
rather than the institute. But then we have an ecosystem here in India where there is so much of
yeah,
Hawa, if I use this word, on IITs. it's too much, and it's unhealthy. So that's why, the pressure of getting into an IIT, which is a totally different subject,
Yeah.
is so high that the student is misguided